Hi, I'm Darlene Carmen.
And I'm Doug Carmen.
And welcome to the show. Trevor Allen is an award-winning playwright and performer. He is currently producing an audio podcast series for Theater Bay Area and Black Box Theater. Today, he will perform a segment from his play, Working for the Mouse, which has played to sold-out houses from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Hey, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Hey, Doug.
Nice. Over the years, I have seen many adaptations of the Frankenstein monster on TV and especially in films, but your play is quite different. And in fact, what makes it unique, it stuck quite closely to the book written in 1818 by Mary Shelley.
Yeah.
What prompted you to do a play so exactly?
Well, it's in the public domain. So as an adaptation, I didn't have to pay any royalties to Mary Shelley or her descendants. But in all seriousness, I felt, as I had seen many of the movies that I'm sure you've seen, including some of the most recent ones, they differed from the book widely and greatly. He wasn't, the creature wasn't an inarticulate monster. He was this wonderful, caring creature. And I thought that that had always been missed. So I wanted to do a theatrical adaptation for 3 actors. And because the way Mary Shelley wrote the book, there's 3 different points of view in the novel. And I thought this would be a wonderful, simple adaptation, which took me many years to write. But basically what I did was I intercut all 3 characters, Captain Walton on the ship, that Victor Frankenstein gets on the ship and he's telling him his story. And then in the middle of the book, there's 3 chapters that are first person from the point of view of the creature, the monster. And he's telling his life story to his creator, Victor Frankenstein, who created him and he ran off into the woods and they didn't see each other for years. So the 3 storytellers are on stage at the same time and all 3 stories are happening simultaneously. So I've essentially intercut the story of the creation of the monster and the monster's acquisition of language and intelligence, and then it all sort of comes together, and it seemed like a perfect vehicle to do an adaptation for a story that I think most people think they know. And unless they've really read the book, it's not what you think it is.
It's true, because, you know, for me, I always felt so sorry for the monster. I mean, you know, it was this poor guy that he killed people, but it was always an accident. And his intentions were always misunderstood. He's clumsy. And then along comes your version, which was new to me, and he's malicious and vindictive.
Well, to be fair to him, yes, he is malicious and vindictive, but that's Mary Shelley's take on it as well.
Yes.
But there's a redeeming quality to him as well that I thought was really missed. The James Whale films, the Universal films that we all know, the black and white, the Boris Karloff, the fire. That's not who the creature was. He starts out innocent. He starts out naive and loving and caring.
Everybody.
And then he's a homeless child, and he's abandoned by his father. Yes. He goes out into the world, and people are mean to him. They throw rocks, they beat him up, they shoot him at one point. He saves a little girl from drowning, and instead of being thanked, he's shot at by the person that... So he's had these horrible life experiences, but it doesn't really make him malicious and vindictive until later on when he asked Victor Frankenstein to create him a wife, a mate, and that he's just going to run away with his mate and live happily ever after. And Victor Frankenstein at first agrees to do that, and then he changes his mind, and he literally rips the body apart on the table and right in front of the creature.
That's nasty.
And so he loses his mind. He then becomes vindictive and evil and malicious. And at the end, I mean, anyone who's read the book knows the ending. I won't give it away, but it's the same ending in the play. After Victor Frankenstein dies, which shouldn't be a surprise, but not at the hands of the creature. And the creature is there at the end, and there is this redemption. There is this quality of asking for mercy, asking to be redeemed. And I'll let the audience, if they do see my productions or if they do see my play produced, form their own conclusions about what that journey is and what that's like. And the reason I titled it The Creature as opposed to Frankenstein, right? Because everybody thinks Frankenstein is the name of the monster.
Right.
The monster has no name. He was
Yeah.
never given a name. And it's the creature very specifically, not the monster, but because he is just, he's a poor, misunderstood creature.
He is. Now, we actually do have a picture.
Yes.
And this one is from your award-winning
Yeah.
creature production.
Yeah.
So if we can see the picture of the actor, and you can tell us
Oh,
about
yes. This is the poster, the artwork for the poster. Jim Carpenter is the actor that played the creature in our production in 2009. Yeah, it got the little man out of his chair clapping on the San Francisco Chronicle, which is a very difficult feat to do. He was literally jumping out of his chair. We had a wonderful sold-out run, and Jim is an amazing actor, and I've worked with him before. I'm going to get a chance to work with him in the future. We're going to do it as a radio play, as a podcast sometime in our season 2015-2016. But the artwork was a bit misleading because we didn't do green skin and neck bolts and the whole thing.
Yeah.
He came up with his own makeup, and there was this suggestion of pallor, suggestion that he's a reanimated corpse. And he's a very handsome actor. It's funny, he did less makeup for this than they did for him when he plays Scrooge in American Conservatory Theater, which he does every year. But it was this wonderful hybrid of, it's not, quite literally, it's not your father's Frankenstein. There's a sense of like, he got to make it his own. And because we had done it as a podcast before, he came to it with all of this vocal quality because he got to focus so much on the internal, so that by the time we were worried about what the visuals looked like, we got to go very minimal. And the beauty of that was, it was just 3 actors on stage storytelling. We talked about this off camera, that it wasn't about the makeup and the latex in the movie version, because like the stage play for The Elephant Man, the actor is not in all this makeup, he just physically does this thing that makes him the Elephant Man.
Yes.
That's what we were going for, the idea that in the script, there's very minimal direction, there's very minimal stage direction, and I want the director and the designers and the actors to find their own way into it. What I provided was the blueprint.
Neat.
Well, you know, I wanted to ask this question. Mary Shelley's book early on, when it was first published, didn't receive good reviews at all. It was quite a negative response, especially by the critics. But it was a huge success, and to imagine that even today, it's one of those things that everybody wants to see or know about.
Yeah.
Why is that? What do you feel that's in that story that's so compelling to universal draw that people want to? What is it that you got from doing the play?
I think it's there's a primal thing there. Literally, she called it the modern Prometheus. So it reaches back into Greek ancient history and traditions. And because it was the Romantics, it was Byron, it was Shelley, and Percy Bysshe Shelley, and Mary Shelley, and they were competing for this ghost story competition when it was first written. And I think the jury's no longer out. I think she won. And I think this story has this green, forever lastingness to it, that it'll always be with us, because it's basically saying, here's a man, through his knowledge and intelligence and science, created this, what we think of as a monster. He was trying to end death. He was trying to stop death. I don't think it's much different from the people that are trying to figure out a way to extend life. Or it's the ancient story of the golem, right? Or the idea that in modern terms of artificial intelligence, of creating something that is post-human. So I think whatever the metaphor is currently in society, that story is always with us in a very, very different way. And I think that's why it's been a fertile ground for different versions of it.
Well, it was just fascinating. So, you know, I could go on and on about the creature, but we are running short of time.
Oh, of course,
and so I kind of want to just touch on another play that you wrote, and that was Lolita Road Trip.
Right.
And you were telling me, of course, we know it has nothing to do with Lolita. What?
Right. It's not an adaptation of Lolita. The It's basically a story of a grad student from Stanford who goes to New York to the public library, and she's researching her dissertation about Nabokov and about how he wrote Lolita and his road trip out to California back in the 40s. Now, along the way, she meets someone, and she has this relationship, and it's a reversal of the Lolita road trip, Lolita, in that it's an older woman and a younger man who may or may not be a figment of her imagination, so I'll just leave that there. But there's also an older professor, and there's many other characters involved.
It was very complex. I wish we had more time to talk about it.
Of course, yeah.
But it was very, very complex, and I just thought the way you handled the characters and moved the story along.
Yeah.
You were telling me that as a fugue. We need to move on, Doug. Were you going to ask him? We need to move on.
Well, you know, we got to see Working for the Mouse.
Oh, yes.
And that's the one thing we wanted to share with our audience today, Working for the Mouse. How did you come up with that whole concept? And what are you going to show us today?
Set it up for us.
Sure. Well, I worked as a character at Disneyland for 4 years while I was at UCLA in the theater department. So I had a lot of stories. I got my degree in theater, and I moved back up to the Bay Area, decided I wanted to be a playwright, and I got an MFA in playwriting, and then started performing on my own work. And so this sort of morphed out of wanting to be a performer and a storyteller, and then moving on to tell my own story effectively about my years as a character. So I am going to do two excerpts, two short excerpts. One is from going from a fur costume, being Pluto, to being a face character, speaking
Fur costume, you mean having to wear a head?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And then there's a section in the play, which I'm sure you remember, the baseball game.
Oh, the baseball.
During the
yes.
parade.
I like
So
that.
again,
Are
two
you
short
ready
pieces.
to perform?
Yes, I am.
We'd love to see you.
Okay.
I really, really liked that. That was so much fun. It was like 90 minutes, and it went by so quickly. Remember?
Oh, I don't know where he got the energy to do that. It's unbelievable.
No
You know,
intermissions.
no intermission.
Yeah.
One continuous play. So I think it'll be, it's nice that he's going to pick some parts out of it that I thought are interesting, and I think they.
Well, some of these people can actually watch on YouTube. I know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he does have it. Yeah, and I think that the audience, if they like it, they can go to YouTube and see many of the
But it
plays.
amazes me how one person can do all this, remember everything, the lines. I mean, there's no teleprompter.
Well, it's one of the things I found interesting that it kind of kept evolving too for him, because he has so much. Once you talk to him and listen to some of the stories, he has so much material that I imagine he could go on for hours and hours.
Oh,
So-
yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. That's well, now let's enjoy Trevor Allen in Working for the Mouse.
The day of face character auditions finally arrived. I was ready. I'd watched Peter Pan the movie 100 times. I even read the book, although it had almost nothing in common with the Disney version. I went over to the audition sheet and I put my name down in the Peter Pan column. And they put me in a hallway full of guys all waiting to audition. And they all looked like Peter Pan, but I knew I wanted it more. They called us into a conference room, one at a time. There was a panel of leads and supervisors seated along one wall. My turn. Come on, everybody, here we go! Off to Neverland! They whispered among themselves. Jimmy, my lead, came over to me.
Thank you. You've got the voice down, but you're just too tan. How would that look? A tan pan? Malibu pan? I'm sorry. Stay out of the sun and re-audition next year. Next!
I was devastated. I couldn't go back to Pluto. I might go postal. It's true, I was really dark at the time. I was spending all my free time down by the pool, but to come right out and say it like that, now I knew why some of the girls had come out crying. They were told that they had the wrong color eyes for Alice, too many freckles for Snow White, or they needed to lose 30 pounds to be Cinderella. I went back over to the audition sheet, though, and I put my name down. In every category, the next group was going in. Chimney sweeps. Cheerio, governor! Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiree. A sweeper's as lucky can be. Mahatma Gandhi. Now, there was a brilliant bloke, but he didn't eat very much, so he was very frail. When he did eat, he ate a lot of curry, so he had bad breath. So when people saw him walking down the street, they'd say, there goes that super fragile mystic vex by halitosis. Of course, you could say it backwards, which is Stosh's Eliexpiastic Fragicalorupus, but that's going a bit too far, wouldn't you say? Thank you, but you're just not Dick Van Dyke enough. Send in the princes. Hello there, I'm Prince Charming. I seem to have lost someone. You there, would you mind sticking your foot in this? You're too short. Merlins! Higatus figatus migatus mum prestidigitonium. Oh, I say, this sword appears to be stuck. You there, lad, would you mind pulling it out? You're too young. Pete! Hi, my name's Pete. Welcome to Passamaquoddy. Have you seen my dragon? You're too old. I was desperate. They said, can you do a Mad Hatter voice? I said, what's that supposed to sound like? They said, Edwin. Well, of course I can. No, let's be silly. Now, Fred Gwynn, that's different. Would anybody like some tea? I'm celebrating my own birthday today, don't you know? They cast me on the spot. They fitted me off the latex nose, buck teeth, and a white wig. My costume was a big hat, big shoes, and a ridiculous yellow trench coat. But at last, I had voice clearance! That summer, all of us atmosphere characters were also doing the daytime parades. Yep, all of us non-union, minimum wage characters in the parades. They taught us this lame little dance routine, but we were really just supposed to walk the parade route and wave at people. Well, we were coming around the hub, over by the castle, when the parade float in front of us, this great big birthday cake broke down. Now, instead of just walking around it and finishing the parade captains told us just walk up and down the sidewalks and wave at people. After about 15 minutes of this, I suggested that we do something else. I pulled an imaginary baseball out of my trench coat and showed it to the crowd. Anybody want to play baseball? We needed a couple of volunteers. Anyone? Kids are lining up to bat. Mickey, Donald, and Goofy are on first, second, and third. Pluto's catching. All the other characters are out in the outfield. I'm pitching. It's my ball. Our first batter was Ian, a little round kid, the kind that's usually picked last. Okay, Ian, keep your eye on the ball. Here it comes. Wow, what a hit. Hey, little John, get it. It's by foot. No, your other foot. The outfield scramble as 15 characters ran around looking for this imaginary ball. Ian ran to first. Next batter. Okay, Aisha, here it comes. Oh, almost took my hat off. Hey, get it, Geppetto. Oh, I know you got a bad back. There you go, Pinocchio. Kids are lining up to bat. They're still fixing the axle on the birthday cake. 5 minutes later, bases are loaded. Peter's calling for a relief pitcher. Everybody wants in the game. The pressure's on. Okay, we need a heavy hitter. And then I see these two blue eyes staring out from underneath the baseball cap with a paw print on it. Hey, you there! You look like a heavy hitter. What say, ma'am? Can he come out and play? Can I, Mom? Can I please, huh? Okay, honey, but you be careful out there. Hey, nice hat there, Scotty. All right, now, keep your eye on the ball. Well, what do you mean you don't see it? Well, that's because it's a magic ball. You gotta believe in it, okay? Okay, here it comes. Wow, what a hit! It's going! It's going! The whole crowd turned to see where the ball was going when Jimmy stomped up to the mound. Game over, babe. Get these kids back on the sidewalk. But why? The kids love it. It's not safe. The crowd started to boo at Jimmy. Why can't you just march with the others? I watched as Scotty crossed home plate and he gave Pluto this huge hug. End this now! I'm sorry, folks, I'm sorry. But the game has been called on account of
Reality. They fixed the float and we finished the parade. I got a written reprimand from Jimmy for disrupting the parade, and a guest commendation from Scotty's mother for making his day.
Pretty good, huh? Oh my goodness. That was great.
Thank you. I have a gift for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll get you one too, Doug. Maybe she'll share.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I treasure this.
A little spritzing there.
Well, I know you're out of breath, but you know, with all the characters and that's gone through there, no, actually, they're characters, but you're the character. All the people went through there.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that really stood out, or any memories you'd like to share?
Sure. We mentioned this before, and I know we had such a short amount of time. One of the characters that's in the play, Scotty, is based on the Make-A-Wish Foundation kid, a terminally ill child, who's an amalgam of many of the different kids that, as characters, we met. I don't want to ruin it for the audience, but there's a moment there where it's, you know, it's not all fun and jolly comedy. There's a moment when one of my fellow characters gives me a little piece of advice. He's a little person. He played Donald Duck, as you know, and I was kind of bummed, and he said to me,
You know, I saw you the other day with that chemo kid. Last rule of thumb, kid, you never get emotionally attached. It'll rip your freaking heart out. That dog suit is like emotional armor. Use it. They don't want to see you. They want to see Pluto. They want the magic. And I got news for you, kid. There ain't any. And the sooner you learn that, the sooner you'll grow up. Welcome to Mauschwitz.
and I was horrified. I was standing there with Pluto's head in my hand. I thought, but I don't want to grow up. I want to get voice clearance. I want to be a face character. I want to be Peter Pan. And so the rest of the play is sort of about that
Wow.
journey.
Beautiful.
There was something I read in I think it was in some of the promotional material.
Yeah.
And it was a quote by Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was very poignant.
Yeah, I actually did meet Robin, Mr. Williams, sorry, a few times in small theaters in San Francisco. I even gave him a VHS copy. This is how old the show was, a VHS copy of the show at one point. I met him later, and he seemed to say that he had watched it, or at least said, I guess you're not going to be working for the mouse. It's like, no, but he also said, well, he also said something I can't say on TV, which is, F them if they can't take a joke.
Right.
But it was, parents, if you love your kids, don't take them backstage at Disneyland.
Yeah, I love that.
The dumpsters are dumpsters. The grime and the grittiness is there. But I was there for 4 years of my formative life and education, and it was transformative. Both everything you can think of that's good about Disneyland and Disney, and everything that you can think that is maybe not so good. I won't say negative, but just it's there.
Well, your play gives such an insight, You do a lot of funny bits, but
Sure.
you can really feel what the characters had to go through.
Yeah.
And how they amuse themselves too. I love the parts of sneaking on the rides and
Oh.
I thought that was great.
I would have already gotten in trouble if that was an issue. The last tour we did of all the different cities, we called it the Cease and Desist Tour. We never got a cease and desist letter, still waiting. Well, that's not wood, but still, the idea is it's my story. It's how I grew up, and there was this sense of everybody there was in it for whatever reason they were, and it was about the magic, it was about this imagination that you just can't commodify.
Well, you're so talented and versatile. Have you ever worked in any other media?
Sure, I have an agent up in San Francisco. I do voiceover work, I perform, I do storytelling. I'm also a screenwriter. I've been working on a novel, and I've got my first book, which is coming out. It's actually a collection of, hold it up to the camera. It's 5 plays. It's the 5 plays we had talked about.
5 out of 17,
17,
you told
yeah.
me. 17 plays that you've written.
Well, these have all had world premieres and have had good reviews,
Yes.
and these are the ones I feel like they can go out into the world and other people can do them and perform them.
Yes.
Whereas with these 5, I'll actually be doing radio play versions of them this year in the season 2015-2016.
Well, I like to say the plays are very readable. They're compelling because you can't put it down.
They're all different.
And they're
that's
all
what I like.
different.
Yeah.
And they all have a different voice, and that's what I
We only
think
have a
makes it
couple
so.
minutes here.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about this new one that you had. You were commissioned for the Rep. So tell us about that one.
Oh, yeah.
You only got 2 minutes.
Okay, really quickly. San Jose Repertory Theater. What theater company? San Jose Repertory Theater. Moment of silence. They commissioned me, and for 3 years I worked on a script called Valley of Sand. It was all about Silicon Valley, it's all about technology, set slightly in the future. And unfortunately, they went bankrupt.
Yes.
I never got paid a dime. I'm technically one of the creditors. I'm not going to go after it. It is what it is. Rick, who I believe was on your show,
Yes.
the artistic director, wonderful guy. He really believed in me and the project. He came to see The Creature.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
there was a sense I got that this could be amazing, and it kept getting bigger and bigger. It was like it went from a small theater to a big version of it, and then when the big theater died the death, I've got this script. So I'm now working on a
Where
second
is
life.
he? Maybe wherever he went, you could like move.
We'll see. We'll see.
I actually don't know where he
No,
is.
he's moved back east.
Oh,
he
okay.
moved
Well,
back.
I didn't know
Oh.
that.
Yeah.
Well, so there's time for everything. So
There is.
So you're working on that, and then we're out of so much time here. But there was you got the San Francisco Art Commission.
I did.
To do.
I got a San Francisco Art Commission to write a play called Zoo Logic. I've since renamed it. It's called Wildlife.
Oh,
It's all
Wildlife.
about the 4 years that I worked at the San Francisco Zoo. True story. But it's also from the point of view of the animals
Yeah.
too. So it's all about the Valentine's Day sex tour. It's clean, but it's the tour that they do every
fun.
year about Valentine's Day. So that's sort of the backdrop, and it's a love story. It's fun. So yeah.
You know, I'm going to have to read that one. You're going to have to definitely
I-
hook me up with that. I'm sorry. we're
Volume
out of
2 will be
time,
coming out.
But I want to thank everyone for watching the show, and also tell you that there's a story inside you. So look for it. Whether it's your work, your play, your travels, your loves, what tragedies, whatever. Look for it. What's your story? Thanks for watching the show, and watch again.